Hello, my name's Andrew Rosenberg, and I'm with the Big Texan RV Ranch, and I'm the operating manager of this partnership. Bobby Lee and Danny Lee started the Big Texan with their father in the 70s, and they created a monster with people wanting to watch other people eat the 72-ounce steak. So they're a big name in Texas. They run a quality business. They are not like your normal tourist location. So going with the Big Texan theme, I went in partnership with them on an RV ranch, and we wanted to create a Western adventure for people, like a Disney adventure, like a Frontierland. I did conduct a survey, and I did a market analysis of the Amarillo market. I found that my competition had cabins, and they were leasing them at a 70% occupancy, and they looked like they came off the Home Depot parking lot. I said, I don't want something that looks like it came off the Home Depot parking lot. I want wood floors, I want wood ceilings, I want log cabin walls. I want a real log cabin to make a Western adventure. So I called Zook Cabins and I made an appointment, and myself and Bobby Lee and Danny Lee and Chris Gant all flew to Philadelphia, and we went to Zook Cabins, and it was quite an experience. They're made by the Amish. Their quality is impeccable. The wood is beautiful, and we bought 11 cabins. We had RVs in the site, and we were able to replace the RVs with the cabins, so we had no questions or no problems. What is interesting is, if we had built cabins, we'd have to pay property tax. But since every cabin is registered as an RV, there's no property tax. You just pull them in, you hook them up to 100 amp service, you hook them up to the sewer, and you're ready to go. We added cable to each cabin, and then we decided that people wanted their own deck, and we built a large deck on each cabin, private, with a dining room set or an outdoor picnic set. And then we created a Western theme in the RV park for these cabins.
Howdy, I'm Bobby Lee of the Big Texan Steak Ranch and the Big Texan RV Park, and for 63 years the Big Texan has been open, and I've had the pleasure of being able to entertain guests from all over the world. The newest addition of the Big Texan is the Big Texan RV Ranch, and it follows the pattern of what we consider an appropriate partnership. The park is fantastic. It goes over the top on providing the Texas experience, the smell of cedar wood, the feel of being outdoors on a mountaintop, but yet you're in the flat plains, the Texas Panhandle, and it's a wonderful, wonderful partnership. When it was proposed to us, the fact about putting cabins in an RV park, we liked the idea of it, and there's been lots and lots of cabins that we went out and looked at. And a lot of them looked like they were in a Home Depot parking lot and bought them there and converted over to cabins. So we were looking for something that really would fit the persona of the Big Texan and the Western heritage and the mystique of Texas. And when my partner said we're going up to Lancaster, Pennsylvania to Amish country to look at cabins, we were a little confused about it. We weren't sure how well that was going to fit with the Texas theme. And we were pleasantly surprised, not only at what we were looking at, what they were custom building for us, but the potential of what it could be in the future as far as expansion. And we started off with 11, and hopefully we're going to have double that or triple that within the next 3 years. People love them. They were amazed by this type of quality down here. And when we were up there, we did not know what to expect. So it was a pleasant surprise when we went in there. We felt like we were in the Texas Panhandle with the friendliness and the way they acted and the brotherhood that they had up there. And once again, their food, that was my favorite part, the food. But the different styles they had, it all rang true to what we do here in Texas. You know, bigger, better, looking like it should. There's no nook or cranny in this entire cabin that doesn't have the feel of what we want it to. I mean, all the way down to the door hangers, the number of steps in the cabin, the look and feel of it. It presents itself very well for a Texas themed type cabin. So we were real pleased with that, you know, coming out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So it was a good partnership. When we were talking to our sales rep on the phone in December and telling what we were envisioning, he went out to their supplier and their builders, and they had the actual model built before we got up there of what we described. And we were able to go through those. The actual model itself, which was delivered that morning at 6, we got there at 9, and there it was. We were able to go over each little detail of what we liked. Let's change this, let's change that on the prototype that they had there. So for the positioning and where we wanted to put the TV, the look of the wood, of the beds, of the spacing, the number of steps on going up to the loft, there was every little attention paid to detail of what we wanted, not what they had built, this is what you buy, but let's move the door over 7 inches. I mean, they were willing to do that for us. And there was no ask that we had that was not taken care of like it should have been. So that's impressive in this day and age, real impressive. The biggest confusion we had was when we were talking to them that they could actually have this delivered before the start of the summer season. And when we saw that thing coming down the highway, right in front of the Big Texan, there it was right on time that we were able to install them, get them open by July 1st, and pow, you know, the new businesses started exactly like we talked about. So it was a pleasure to work with them and seeing that their delivery time was exactly what we'd asked for. And like I said, we got video of them coming off the highway with the first Zook Cabins. So we're real pleased with that and impressed. I don't know how they did it, but they did it.
While the cabins were being transported, one of them had some damage to the air conditioning unit, and Zook Cabin responded. We sent them pictures and they replaced the product and sent out somebody to reinstall it. Another issue was some of the cabins weren't stained inside, and we had to hire somebody to put a polyurethane coating on them. And we sent Zook Cabins the pictures, and Zook Cabin reimbursed us for staining the units. So Zook Cabins was very responsive on everything that they ever said they would do, and more than responsive. And we're very pleased with their ethics and with the quality of their cabins. We've got the units on our website, and we're marketing through the Big Texan. They have tons of people on their website. We also have a marketing company that handles all the placement and all the codes to get into the cabins. Your cost per cabin delivered are between $95,000 and $100,000. And then you have another $20,000 to $25,000 per cabin for the infrastructure. To build a deck, to put the barbecue area, to make it a theme. So I would say you have approximately $125,000 a cabin to work with. I figure the cost for maintenance for the cabins are between $1,000 and $2,000 a year for the first 5 years. Obviously, as they get older, you can spend more money on maintenance. But they're built very well, and we've had 0 issues. As far as staff, I didn't need to hire any additional staff because I already had staff at the RV park. The only staff that I acquired because of the cabins and the nightly rentals were 2 maids, and they're doing a wonderful job. I'm not paying them by the unit, I'm paying them by the hour. And the reason I'm doing this is I don't want them to rush, and I want the units perfectly cleaned. Our rates change with demand. The whole world is based on supply and demand. And on the internet, as we fill up, our rates go up. On busy nights, Fridays and Saturdays, our rates go up. And then during the week, we run a special. Because the cabins are different than a motel room, and you have a loft and you have bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, you spend a little more time cleaning them. So I figure $25 a piece to clean them every day that they're in use. And we put that in our rate. And I figure your rate would be $100 a night, and then holidays and weekends as high as $200 a night. Well, obviously occupancy in our business is seasonal. We get a lot of people on I-40 Route 66 coming through for the summertime, and our occupancy has been around 70%. Obviously in the wintertime we expect it to drop around 50% and go back up to 70-75%. Our timeline for an investment like this is approximately 5 years to recoup the money you put out. And that's a reasonable timeline, and I think we're on target. I have 24 acres that I share with Bobby and Danny and Chris Gant. And the Lees and I are going to build an RV park with another 240 spaces. And we plan to put in 15 to 20 cabins in this other RV park for nightly rentals. My only advice to somebody that wants to do a similar investment is they do it right. You just don't bring the cabins in and set them in a dirt area. You have to create an environment. You have to create a barbecue area, a sitting area, a place for people to sit out and talk and visit. You have to create an environment that's inviting. You want to make it clean. You want to make cement walkways. You want to make patios that are comfortable. And you want to create an environment. I would highly recommend Zook Cabins. If I'm going to buy cabins in the future, which I am, I would only do business with Zook because of the quality, because of the guarantee, and because they were there when they said they were going to be there.